we teach you how to say I love you in Hungarian.
I would love to learn that. I love you.
All right. So it goes like this. Szeretlek.
Szeretlek.
Yeah,
Wow.
for the first time. Wow. How are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. You know, it's a bit chilly in Stockholm. It was actually snowing in the morning and
Really?
raining at lunch. But yeah, I'm good. I'm happy to talk to you.
Okay, we are too. We are really excited. All right. So first of all, how is the new year starting out for you? Did you have any resolutions or did you set out any goals for the year?
You know, this new year started out like I had a couple of sessions that was canceled because of Corona. So this year started a bit like slow, but also at the same time it's nice because then you have some time to just think about like what I want to do and how I want to spend this year. And actually I did a moon ceremony. So a moon ceremony. So that's when you can like when there's a full moon or a new moon, you can do like ceremonies around it. So I did full moon ceremony, and what you do then is like you can write down on a piece of paper things you want to let go of, and then you can burn up that paper. And hopefully what you want to let go of is happening.
You know what? I will try that. That sounds exciting.
And new moon, then you're supposed to write down on a piece of paper what you wish for.
All right. Now you release your new album, Magic Still Exists, last October. Now besides the Nothing Can Compare EP, your latest album before that, Veritas, came out in 2012. So I'm curious, what were you doing all those years that you spent away from the music industry?
So you mean after the Veritas album?
Yes.
Or yeah, so I released my last album when was that? Earlier than Magic Still Exists. I believe it was 2000. What did you say?
12, yeah.
12. Okay, so I was touring until 2015. And my last tour was in 2015, that summer. And I had decided before that tour, like after this, I'm gonna have a long break. And for me, it was because I was at a crossroad in my life, and I was 26 at that time, and I started out when I was 16. So I felt like I need to do something else outside of like music and being an artist and performing. So for me, it was a lot about like traveling, trying to figure out myself and to like do different kind of things that I was curious with, like doing I don't know if you know about singing bowls. You can use them in meditation. So I did a course about that and learned about intention. So yeah, that the break I had before this Magic Still Exists was about trying to figure out myself and what I want to do and to spend a lot of time in the studio. I never had the time for myself and to write and to understand who I was as a creative being. So that was what I was doing actually.
Right.
And what made you decide to come back to music?
You know, at first I didn't know if I was gonna come back, but after a while, I think after like 1.5 years, I felt like I am supposed to be a songwriter and to be an artist. I just have to find my way and to create a world for myself where I feel comfortable and safe. So I think it was many things that made me come back, but one of them was I started to learn the basics in music production.
Mhm.
So that made me able to just go into the studio all by myself. Before, like if I had an idea, I had to call somebody and like, can we go into the studio? Now I wasn't dependent on somebody else. So that made me starting to be experiment in the studio. And after a while, I felt like, okay, now I feel ready to release new music. So it happened very organically.
Mhm. So yeah, and the concept of magic still exists is strongly based on like love, spirituality, right?
Mhm.
So can you just talk us through the creative process behind it?
So before I released Magic Still Exists, I released an EP, and when I had released the EP, I knew like I want to make a whole album. It was important for me because you have so many ideas, and for me, I wanted to like create a world, and it's so hard to do that like on 1 or 2 or 3 singles. Like you try to put in everything in those songs. So I knew like I want to make an album. And I knew like I want this album to be about this journey I've been going through. Like the break I had was a journey for me to connect with myself. And it was very much about, I had a feeling before the break, I had a feeling of me that I had put myself in a box. And I was so tired of this box. I just wanted to break out of it. So it was a lot, my thoughts was a lot about like, I was trying to free my mind and free my body. And that was like the whole core of the album.
Right, I think what you just said just really beautifully comes through when you listen to the album as a whole. So I'm wondering, what's the most important thing that you learned during the creation process of the record?
You know, I learned that it, like how we live now, everything we do, we want to have a clear vision in 1 second, and we want to know what we're doing and what we're heading. But sometimes things have to take time. And that, I believe, it's people don't want things to take time now. Like our whole environment is, everything is supposed to go so fast. And what I learned was that some things has to take time. And with that, it's not easy. Like it's a lot of anxiety in not knowing where you're heading. But looking back at it, you know, that gave me such I don't know, foundation to stand on. Like I feel so sure of what I'm doing. And if I compare with that from earlier in my life when everything was happening so fast, and now I feel so much more grounded. And that was a big lesson during this process.
And which song was the hardest to create on the album for you?
The thing was, none of the songs on the album was that hard, actually. They happened very, maybe not fast, but they happened very easily in a way. But there was a lot of songs that didn't, that are not on the album, that wasn't easy. So actually we had one song, we had the last day of recording and finishing up the album, and there was one song we were like, it's not gonna happen, you're gonna take it out. So yeah.
Right. Now, as you mentioned before, the record is called Magic Still Exists. So I'm curious, how would you define magic, and what does it mean to you personally?
You know, magic for me, it's those things that you can't like really see and maybe touch. It's like you are surrounded by magic, and magic for me is also like dreams and visions, and like also, I don't know if you can say, but type into the feelings you had as a child. Like when I'm remembering situations or like going into Christmas, and I had this kind of magical feeling around it. And I really try to stay connected to that as a grown-up, because that's where I feel very inspired. Like, you know, being in the studio, making music, it's like playing in a way, but playing for like playing and being very serious with what you're doing, you know, as children are. Like, if you look at children when they are playing, they're not just like laughing. It's like, it can be deadly serious, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's magic is like really dreaming, I think, and stay connected.
All right, okay. And if you could change just one thing about the world, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tricky question. I think if I go back, like the whole thing about this album and what it's all about, like being free, and for me that's very close to my heart. And I believe like we are so many spirits out there that have so much creativity inside of us, but our fears holds us back. So I believe like there are so many people out there that are able to do so much, but the fears are stopping us. Mm-hmm. So my wish is that all people out there that are holding back because of fear, like, can we just give ourselves a little bit of release and let go of the fear, so everyone are just able to, you know, sparkle and bloom out.
That's really cute.
Yeah, that's very nice. What are you the most grateful for in your life?
You know, in the end, you know, I'm just grateful for family and my friends, and that I'm able to do what I do, like being an artist and making music, and also to decide what I want to do with my life and my days and my time.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, what's your favorite part of being a musician? Like recording, songwriting, performing?
You know, I love to be in the studio and making music. I love that. And I love also, like now when I'm planning to go out touring, I love to have a vision of how I want it to look like. So I think I love all the parts of it, but it's scary. Like now I haven't been out on stage for such a long time, so it's a bit scary as well. La 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 la. Am I able to do it?
Honestly, I would just love to see you on tour, because like I can only imagine what a great show you would put on, because the album is not only cohesive like sound-wise, but the whole imagery, how do you say that? I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. The whole aesthetic is so on point. Like I love it so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, now you've been in the music industry for almost 20 years now. I'm wondering, what is your proudest achievement of your career so far?
Right now, I actually feel like making this album. It was such a big milestone for me to do it, and putting all the thoughts I had into it. So right now, I think it's that.
And which song of yours would you show to a person that doesn't know you yet?
That's a tricky one. I would say just listen to the whole album, please.
And do you have any hidden talents that we don't know about?
You know, I'm pretty good at like party tricks. So I have a thing, like I can make a sound with my tongue that sounds very loud. Like
oh.
So I learned when I was a child, my biggest hero was, do you know Jim Carrey? Yeah, I loved him. I had like picture of him in my room. And I could stand in front of the mirror for hours and like trying to make the faces he did. So I learned a lot of like party tricks from him.
All right, cool. And regarding to music, who were your biggest inspirations when you were starting out, and who are they now?
When I was a child and a teenager, I listened a lot to like pop, soul, R&B. Like I love Destiny Child, Robin, Whitney Houston, Stevie Wonder. So it was like a mixture of soul, R&B, and pop. And now, like, I've been so inspired by Solange's album When I Get Home. I just think that album is a masterpiece, and everything she did around it, like the videos and the whole idea around the album is, it's crazy good, I believe. So she's very big inspiration to me. And also Roisin Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah, I love her. I love her music and her voice. So yeah.
There are some artists who don't really like their own older signature hits because they're kind of bored of them or for some other reasons. But how do you feel about Release Me in that sense?
When I listen to the production, I feel like it's very not updated. Like it feels old to me. Yeah, in a way, but I think it's because when you are making the music yourself, you listen to them in another way. Like would I've chosen that drum now, would I've chosen that synth now. But as a song, I love the song. It's still like I really feel so connected with the song still. And I believe like Release Me and this new album, it has some of a connection with each other, I believe. So I'm not bored of the song. When I do it live, I try to, change the production a little bit for me to make it more fun, But yeah, I still think it's a great song.
It is, it really is. And it's just so weird for me that you said that it's kind of outdated, the production, because I love Release Me when I was like, I don't know,
Like
14 maybe.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I still love it now. And I was just listening to it the other day, and I was thinking to myself, you could release it today, and it would still sound fresh. So it's weird for me that you said.
But I believe like if you had recorded yourself, maybe you had felt differently. So I think you listen to your own songs in another way, like
in a more critical way, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, all right. And if you had a time machine and you could go back in time to when you were starting out and give your younger self just one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think I would give myself the advice that I understood now with like some things takes time, and you don't have to hurry, and if things feels wrong, don't do it. Like I think always I've been surrounded by good people, but even though you're surrounded by good people, you are the one choosing what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And sometimes you make choices and you think this is the best, and it's like, but I don't feel it. And I believe like when you're connected with what you're doing and you understand the purpose, then everything is perfect. But if you don't feel connected, then you should say no, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And what are your plans for the next 10 years?
Ooh la la. I just want to keep on making music and writing more songs. I want to become better at making like productions, and I would love to go out and tour and see the people are listening to the songs. Yeah, so just keep on with what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. And finally, is there a message that you would like to share with your Hungarian fans?
What would that be? You know, I believe like all of us has like a purpose, and our thing in life is to make our lives and our environment so warm and loving. So I think like give yourself that, because when you give yourself that, then you're gonna shine like brighter, and when you shine brighter, like you bring in the good in your life. So I believe like our goals in life is to just make ourselves enjoy more. And when you enjoy, you do better things. So yeah, enjoy life.
That's such a beautiful way to end our conversation. But before we let you go, we would like to kind of teach you something so you can take away something from this interview as well. So I'm wondering, do you know any Hungarian words?
Any what?
Hungarian words.
Words? No.
No? Or for you, if we teach you how to say I love you in Hungarian.
I would love to learn that. I love you.
All right. So it goes like this. Szeretlek.
Szeretlek.
Yeah,
Wow.
for the first time. Wow.
Beautiful.
Agnes, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It was a real pleasure.
Lovely talking to you.
Really love you, and you just have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.